Hey guys, I'm inside today because it is cold outside. We have our first freeze expected here in Dallas, Fort Worth. And I realize that some people may not know what to do in a freeze with their landscape. And, we spend a lot of money and we spend a lot of time on it and we want to save it. So here are some great tips to help you manage your landscape and not lose any precious plants. Now, for the most part, the shrubs that you have are fine. The exception, I would say, would be if you have camellias and they've not bloomed yet. You still maybe have like little buds, but they haven't bloomed. If that's the case, you're going to want to cover those with a cloth tonight. You definitely want to water any delicate plants in the landscape. And the reason why, water in soil will actually insulate the roots. Soil that is moist can trap and hold heat much better than dry can. So it seems kind of counterintuitive, but it's actually the best thing you can do for the landscape and especially for pots. So if you have pots in the landscape, you want to give them a good drench before nightfall is best. If you just can't manage it, I mean, things happen. Get water in that pot, and then you want to cover that pot with a cloth. Now you can go buy something that's called a landscape cloth, and they're sold at all the big box stores, and every nursery will have them, and that can get pricey. If you have an old sheet, perfect. That's really all you need. You need something that's a natural fiber though. So that means do not put tarps, emergency blankets, I'm just shooting off randomly here, or plastic bags. Don't put plastic on your landscape or on your pots. The cold will actually move through the plastic faster and kill it. So please don't put plastic on your plants. If you have old busted beach towels or anything like that, that's a great idea. You don't want anything heavy on a delicate plant because if you have sleet or rainfall in the middle of the night or snowfall, that's going to weigh down on that material and you're going to break branches and then that just leads to bad things. So cloth, old sheets, that's absolutely perfect and the best thing that you can do. Now, there are some annual colors. Here in North Texas in particular, we love our annual color. We got to get that color in. So that's your dianthus, alyssum, pansies. Petunias should not be thriving. If you've got petunias, pat yourself on the back. And violas, that's another one that's really, really popular. And it's like a teeny tiny little petunia. And it has a very long, delicate stem that the flower's on the tip of. And when it gets to about 29 degrees, it goes, and it never comes back up. It doesn't die, but it flops and it just doesn't look that great. So you want to cover those plants in particular. Dusty Miller is pretty fine. Snapdragons are iffy, but if you're covering other things, go ahead and cover that. So those are going to be your annuals that are expected to not make it once we have another extreme change in weather. You want to, if you have cyclamen, oh, they're beautiful and really, really expensive. And they turn into absolute melted goo at 28 degrees. So that, you don't even bother covering it. Bring it inside. And pro tip, if you accidentally planted it in a pot, or if you planted it in the ground, please don't ever, ever, ever put cyclamen in the ground. But if you did, next year, just tuck the pot, the little plastic container, in your bigger pot with all the other stuff. Nobody'll know. That's what they do at like the country clubs, because when we have this kind of weather, they're not going to waste that money and all that time. They just haul it back inside. If you have anything that's an aloe or a jade, if you have Boston ferns, any of those delicate tropical vines like a bougainvillea or a mandevilla, those all need to come inside. Philodendrons, those should have been inside at 45 degrees. But tropical hibiscus, anything that's like that, that needs to go inside. And when I say inside, I don't necessarily mean inside your house. You can, but it's not required. The garage, a covered patio, at the innermost part of a covered patio so that it's not out in the extreme air is what you're really trying to protect everything from. Unless you have sleet and snow, then you want to protect it from that too. So let's keep those landscapes looking great. Let's save our money. Let's not kill stuff if we can avoid it. Water deeply, cover delicates. If it's really delicate or if you're just not even sure, if you're iffy on it, bring it inside. As soon as the sun comes up the next day, bring it back outside, take the cover off, let it breathe, let it get some fresh air, and everything will be just fine. Seems like a lot of work, and if you think so, try going native, because the plants that are adapted to the native environment don't need all of this work. I know they may not be as pretty, but they sure are easier to deal with. But you can still make do with your beautiful annual color and all of your delicates. You just have to do a little bit of extra work to keep them thriving. So there's a tip from me to you. If you have anything else that I can answer, by all means, leave me a question in the comments. Follow my page on Facebook, Featherstone Garden Design, and happy gardening.